For the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Cottrellville Township regular board meeting for February 10th, 2016. Can we have roll call attendance? Angie?
Ken?
Here.
Patty?
Here.
Matt?
Here.
Mary Agnes?
Here.
Angie? Here.
Okay. We have the agenda approval. I have a couple things we have to add to get started. I guess our first thing is I put together a newsletter. And then the invoice for it. Thank you. And on the, under new business, I need to put in for a memorandum for Don Chop. He wants to attend a annual rural water conference. Get that down to Ken. Thank you. I have another bid that come in this morning for the repair to the sewer station at the end of Broadbridge on M29. This is another contractor, welding contractor. And these, over 7, 8, and 9 can ask for. Can I give you 2 there or no?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're adding the invoice, the newsletter, and the
Don Chop's
Don Chop's
class.
request.
The bid for repair of sewer station.
Okay, is there anyone else want to add anything while I got her open? I need a motion to approve the agenda with the amendments.
I make a motion.
Okay. Do I have a second? I'll second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Questions on
Discussion, go ahead.
the agenda 2? We don't have the December 9th minutes here in this
No,
packet.
we do not. We got to take that
So
off.
we have to take that off. And the January 13th meeting, I would like to see us strike that. I think there's a lot of points in there, but something that was just brought to my attention tonight. We have our votes for 5-0. We have Clerk Viola in there. She wasn't here.
I think that was that one section we were referring to,
Yeah.
December 9th minutes.
Yeah, I think we were talking about something.
Yeah.
She asked me about that as well, so.
Mhm.
It's January 13th, but we had 5-0, but, VIFAF sat in to record the minutes, which was nice, but she's not an elected official, so technically she can't vote.
No, she didn't
And all the
vote.
votes throughout here were 5, so rather than try to beat that up and go through the whole thing, let's just table these minutes to the next meeting.
I think the section, are you referring to the first page
Mhm.
of the minutes? I think the section under the second paragraph, she was actually referring to, she was paraphrasing from December 9th's minutes.
Okay.
That's why my name is in there.
Okay. Well,
Well, we don't have the December minutes revised.
No,
To
you don't
go
have
through
it.
the-
You don't have that yet, no, sir.
Angie, I see that, I do, because then
Yeah.
it just says all A's, motion
And
carries.
she does mention all of the corrections for the December 9th minutes in this
I see.
packet as well.
And it does say all A's instead of 5-0, okay. Well, then I do have questions on the February 13th also.
February 13th. January.
January 13th, I'm
Okay,
sorry.
go ahead.
In the NT book, any book, our minutes are supposed to be a reflection of what occurred at the meeting. And I just questioned, there's some notes put in here. Second page, first paragraph, third paragraph, that research was done afterward. And although I appreciate the input after the fact, I don't think it's conclusive though.
Do you want to approve the minutes as is and take the notes out? Or do you want to add to the notes? It's your pleasure.
Well, just so that the board understands where I'm coming from, if you look at the first note that's there, we actually had a resident email all of us with the correction to that. It was I think the August 12th meeting, no, not the August 12th meeting.
Well, I didn't.
We had a
I didn't
meeting,
find it.
that suggested the schedule, which was in there, and it was passed unanimously, that would have changed that, and that's not reflected at all in this note, is what my point is.
Okay, well, a lot of those, as I explained to you on the telephone, a lot of those things that were done in the interim period there were not superseded. There was nothing to change what was existing to make the new policy or procedure or resolution that you wanted. And as you discussed, you said that they never did find a book.
Correct, they didn't have an ordinance policy, so they tried to design one. And we had a board made up of people from this township to design, and we followed an MTA Ordinance Matters book and a disc, and we tried to put policy in play to help us govern what happens in this township. And that was one of the points that was done and it was made.
Okay,
And that is if you look at the cloud that our clerk posted, all of our minutes are in there. If you look at it, you can see these policies in there.
Did you bring a copy of that you found?
Absolutely. I have several of them. If you just look, and again, it was pointed out to me by our residents. That was sent to us. Again, rather than debate it here, that's why I'm asking if we just pull both minutes off and then discuss it.
Matt, with those minutes that were done at that meeting, because I was at the meeting, did Lori ever publish them? Because I thought they had to be published in the paper.
That, I don't know.
Yeah, because if they're not published.
And you know what I'm referring to, because you're the one
Yeah,
that
right.
pointed it to us, and you were
Right.
correct.
Right.
I said, I stand corrected. It was, and it was passed. But, and I understand the fact of an ordinance versus a motion. We didn't have ordinances, if you recall, and that's why we said it's a board,
I
and
know,
it's
but I don't remember seeing her ever publishing those.
that I don't.
So if they were never published, you're saying that none of them have of any value?
No.
They have to be given to the public.
So there was 3 years of just nothing going on in the township?
not much.
Nothing was published, so nothing is valid? Is that kind of what you're insinuating?
It has to be published and it has to have a number assigned to it. The year plus the number of that publication. If it was in 2013, the first one would be -1. If it was the next one, 2013-2.
That's a resolution.
You have to have the numbers on both of them.
On both of what?
Your resolutions and your policies.
And where does it say that?
It's in the books. If you
Which
read-
books?
If you go to your MCLs, they'll tell you.
I'm going to disagree, and again, that's why I'd like to make the motion to table it.
All right,
We
let's
went
do
to
that.
this, our clerk had it, our new clerk has it, and we're just told to use this. We had a situation in this township that we felt as this governing body that we should get control of things because we had no ordinances. This board and the people asked me to go to Grand Rapids, go to this class. I bought this book on my own, I brought it back, I talked to attorneys at the state, MTA, pulled this out, used their disc, filled in all of ours. We went through a book like this that we designed out of here for the township.
Policies, that one's, policies, that one's,
Policies, yes. I'm sorry, I say ordinance, policies.
yes.
And what it did was help you govern what we do. And it was a lot to digest, so we were doing it a little at a time. And that's what we were doing. And the schedule hours were one of them, bidding process was one of them. And it was what I believe a lot of the citizens wanted because there were some issues and concerns about how we were just spending with no parameters. And that's what we did. And we followed these guidelines. We looked for this ordinance books, didn't find anything, so we started from scratch. And I think, Angie, I just spoke to you on this. When you went to the class, they pushed this book again.
They pushed
MTA
the book.
suggested.
I took a class.
And that's what we tried, yeah, and that's what we tried to do. And now
Tell
you're
me this,
saying.
Did you
it-
get through the whole, whatever
No.
you put together?
No, we did not.
Where is it now, do you know? Are we
It's in the
halfway through
clerk's
or
office.
a
All of
quarter?
it's in the clerk. I have no idea.
Oh, well,
I-
you haven't had
completely.
any more meetings where you,
No, it was basically abolished just before, once the recall started,
Oh.
the supervisor
you
stopped.
stopped? Okay.
And then the assumption was the clerk has all that. They keep records, they keep, and that's,
Have you
again, I'm
talked to
assuming.
Lori to see where she might have put these at?
Well, she wanted it in a disc form, but I couldn't do it in a disc, because this is just their copy. I can change it, print it, but it won't save it.
And I'm sure I got
Hell was that?
a paper copy of all that information.
Well-
And another thing about the minutes, I noticed today, unless it was a mistake or something, my favorite thing on Wednesday is looking at the Voice. The Voice had a synopsis or the thing for January 13th meeting in it, today.
Right.
Kind of late to be looking at.
That was because she was gone for 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. Well,
January 13th, that's
Yeah.
today's meet, oh, yeah, well, there would be. We have to get it out like by 4 o'clock Friday, I think, in order to
what
get
I'm
it in the
saying is
following
it-
week.
It appeared in the paper today.
Oh, okay, all right, I see what you
Today's
mean.
paper. Because when I opened it up and I saw that, having another meeting already, and we didn't even get a chance to read all this stuff.
Well, that actually had been done in the past too as well.
Was it?
Mr. Mann?
Well, they don't have to be
And
published.
plus,
in the paper
I was
within
gone
8
for 2
days.
weeks and
Well,
we
21.
were pretty behind there.
They just have to be done in 8
Okay.
days, but not published.
Just a
Okay.
Hang on,
clarification, and you might want to check with your attorney. A policy is not an ordinance.
Right,
And you don't have to publish a policy. If this is more like an internal procedures
Guideline.
or guidelines. She was right about the ordinance, you have to put it
And a
in
resolution.
paper, and a resolution is another thing. You have to assign a number and publish it. For the
Right.
public to know. And there's a grace period that the public can comment on those before you adopt them. A policy does not need that.
no.
Another question.
Yes, sir? Wait, should we handle that now, or?
Well,
wanna wait?
again, I think that should be tabled, then when you go down to your approval of the treasurer's report. Under treasurer's report, we have township investment report and township bank reconciliation. If you go back to August 12, 2015, it was brought to this board in a whole packet from MTA that we get a better overview because of some of the financial situations we felt we were in. We went to MTA and asked them. The treasurer will give a cash activity report and an investment report quarterly. The clerk will provide a financial report and a balance sheet report monthly. There was a motion made on that. It was passed 5-0. It was done at one of our meetings. We don't have that here now. We have a township investment report, township reconciliation report. And I'm not positive if we're getting this financial report or balance sheet report when you look at the tops of the headings that's in this packet. We did that so that we could see what things were happening, because I think what everybody knows, when we looked last year at the budget with Plant Moran, we had some drastic declines, and we were in trouble. So we wanted to get a better vision of what was going on. Again, we used the resources that we have, MTA, and this is what they suggested, and you can have that copy also. So I don't believe and I understand, I truly understand that we have a lot of new board members. I mean, I've only been on this 1 year, Mr. Chartier's longstanding, and the rest are new, but there's a lot of policies and things we put into play in the last year that are not following now in the first 4 months with this new board. And I think it's causing these kind of things in the beginning of these meetings, because we want to see these things. This report that we finally have, called a special report, it's not a special report, it's a revenue and expenditure report, and anybody on this board that reviewed it can see there's some issues, and I have some concerns on that. $11,000 under the township board in the last 3 months were spent, and I mean, I don't know where, if we would have been seeing this, we could have asked. I surely wouldn't expect the clerk to give me that answer, or you, the supervisor. But those numbers, that's what my job as a trustee is supposed to do, and Mr. Chartiers, is look at the monies. That's why we asked for these reports, that's why we made those motions, that's why we put policies into play.
Well, in reference to that report, it didn't exist. I had to build it.
Well, you had to build it, and that may be true, but guess what? Last year, it was there and it was built and we used it.
Well, you were there when I was there.
And you built it, and my hat's off to you, because you did it very quickly, within a half hour. But this is the fourth meeting, it took 4 meetings. So my point is this, in 4 months, it went from this particular item, $11,501 were spent, and I see it today. Am I doing the job that I was voted in to do as a trustee if I don't see the numbers and know where they're coming from?
But I couldn't find what you were looking for.
And that's not my problem. This is a BSNA program that's been around. And I understand that, and again, I'm not arguing with anybody. I'm not trying to.
But
I'm
these
trying to get
numbers came
some-
from somewhere. That's what we're asking. What is it? Where did it come from?
Computer-generated, those reports. You can make up any customized report you want. It's computer-generated.
Okay.
So if he wants the balance sheet, there is a drop window that you can do a balance sheet, a trial balance. Whatever you want is there. I did give the name of the BSNA person I had talked to months ago when Lori was gonna make her own Excel sheet, and I said, no, you have to have it generated from the computer so it's accurate.
Exactly, and that's my point. These are not, we didn't make it. But I went and looked at it and found it
Yeah,
and
you
pulled
had
it
a
down.
copy.
And it's not what I want, it is what this board voted to have.
Right.
And the point that I'm saying is, since we haven't had it in 4 months, now there's an 11,000, just one line item. There's
Matt-
multiple if you look through it.
Matt,
What
there
were the
were 2
negatives?
meetings that went by. You know, the second meeting is where you requested that form from me.
Mm-hmm.
And the third meeting, I wasn't able to explain why I couldn't retrieve that.
And I,
And
am
now
not,
for the fourth meeting, we have the form for you.
it's for us. That's what I think people are missing.
For us.
It's for us.
Yes, for us.
Yeah, but
And
we
And he's
still
questioning
have-
some of the line items.
We still have
Just-
$11,000 we can't explain. You got your report, but we still don't know what it is. We've got to dig through and find this stuff out.
As the ladies just said, it's generated by what's put in the computers. And if you put it in the computer, it should come up
But that's for a
red.
year. I mean, that's for the whole fiscal year.
Seven
There
years,
there could be
7 months.
something that was done wrong back in February, March, April, May, whatever,
And-
and it'll show up every month.
If you have money in the account, it's not a problem. If you put it in there and there's no money, it'll come up red.
Correct.
Correct. So it should have come up red, somebody should have known it and saw it. Someone should have went to the supervisor, who unfortunately here is responsible for it and has to correct it, and we'll have to correct it. And that's all I'm trying to say, so that we can do the best job for the township.
Well, you know, I think we've got to give this due.
I understand that, and I'm not saying they're
You know,
not. I'm not
because it
attacking
is
them
a
by any
mess
means.
back there. It is
And
a
at the very
total
first
mess.
meeting that I was at, we produced several copies of the figures in red for you guys to see at that first meeting. So, I mean, I think we gave you like 20 pages of accounts, line items that were over budget in the red. So, I mean, we are showing you what's over budget.
You gave us this.
Yes.
And again, what are we doing about it? That's what we're supposed to be doing.
Aren't we supposed to be having a budget meeting soon?
We're supposed to have a budget done in March.
Okay.
So, and I'm not trying to argue with anybody. We need these so we can make right decisions. That's all I'm saying.
All right, well, I think we beat that horse to death. Let's figure out what else you want to go on, that you want to move from your consent agenda so we can get this show on the road.
Well, again, as I would like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda, excluding the minutes, because they're not correct. And 3A and B should read what was done in the policy and the changes that were made over a year ago.
Which is, you just want township investment reports?
Whatever it says right there on the paperwork I gave you. There was an actual motion. I gave you the rate from the past minutes.
And I think I give it back to you, did I?
No? I think it's for financial reports and investment
Oh, is
reports.
this it? So is this another form that you're requiring now?
It's not a form that I'm requiring. It's policy action that was taken by the Cottrellville Township Board. The board said this is what we will do, not me.
Okay, well, we weren't here in August of 2015.
I understand that.
So, and this is the first I've heard you say that. I've been asking for this report since I've been here, and I haven't had any cooperation either. So if this is the report you want to replace that one, that's fine.
We've been getting those reports.
The
If you
bank
look at the-
reconciliation report? No. you
Where's the
haven't been
reconcil-
turning that in.
No,
You
we're
don't-
taking it off every month.
Yeah, you don't need the bank reconciliation report.
I want it. He wants what he wants, he wants what he wants, that's something I want, okay?
fine. Great.
All right, let's
You
go
got
on.
it.
No, let's not move on. If you want something, why do you want it?
What is,
Because I
what-
wanna see if the clerk and the treasurer can get along, see what we got as far as balancing, that's what that's for.
You work with them daily, and I think the point that's made is, that I'm trying to make, and I don't think is being seen, we as a board made these changes. It's trying to change to something else, and you're missing that, I believe.
Well, there's 3 out of 5 of us that weren't here.
Well,
when
and that's
you
why
were
we're
here.
trying to show you.
Okay.
And
yeah,
that's,
but you-
and that's why I'm bringing the documentation, and I
Yeah.
did bring it to the clerk's office weeks ago.
No, you didn't.
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Matt, you did not give me
I hate
this.
to
I don't
many
think you
people
wanna
are gonna
go there.
talk?
I talked to you and you shut the door there, and I was talking to your
Talk-
deputy, and then
talk to
you
the-
turned around and said, I need you there. I brought all these in and I wanted to go
Matt,
through the old
Matt,
minutes.
Matt, you did not bring this to my attention.
I asked you if I could work for you because you weren't at the last meeting, and I specifically told you
You
I would go through the minutes.
All right, well,
And
let's,
now I'm gonna finish,
No,
because
no,
she
no,
just
no,
said it. No, don't start, no, I'll let you talk as soon as I'm done.
Go ahead.
After the last meeting, I said, Angie, I came to your office, said you weren't here, I'm not attacking you. I had made some statements here. I thought it was being quite the man to come and be honestly face to face and tell you, these are things that were done and you weren't here. You don't know of this. Trying to help you. Our Al turned around and dropped the booklet in front of our supervisor, showing her the policies and the changes that were put in place. In fact, some of them that you did when you were at my home. What we did was, I asked you, I would go through the minutes, I would get these things and give them to you so we could get this up and we could all be on the same page. And I was talking to your assistant about it, and you walked away. So don't say it didn't happen because I was here.
Matt, I'm not gonna get into this with you. You know, you're blatantly lying to me right now. There was one.
You know what, if you want
Let her
to, no,
go
she's
now.
calling me a liar now, and I didn't lie.
You
Because there's
told me
other
I
people
could
here
talk.
that I did see me come in and do this. Why would I say I did it if I didn't? You, no, you have to.
This is crap. You can't have
You-
a
you-
civil conversation and try to come up with a
Matt,
resolution
You
without
came in
having-
on President's Day when I came in. to
Wasn't
do some
President's
work.
Day. I was here President's Day also, yes.
And you started talking to me about some of the policies that you had tried to put in place when Lori was here, okay?
So Mickey Mouse.
That's all that we talked about. That's all that we talked about in my office. And then you went away and talked to Vi, and then I proceeded to do my work that day.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay.
all right, well,
Can we move on?
yes, I think we should. All right, is there anything else you'd like taken off that while you're making your consent agenda changes there?
Well, my next question was you wanted something, and that was my point before I was called a liar, was everything that was on this agenda was voted on by a board, not a single person. And there was a reason for why we did it and passed, discussion and passed. Now, you're saying I want this back to the way the board, the township board put it in play. And you say you want something. Why don't you explain to us what you want, the value of it, and the board decide if we're going to have it?
Okay, well,
I
checks
think that would be
and
the appropriate way.
Okay, checks and balances is what is set up between the treasurer and the clerk so that they can keep each other honest. She handles all of the money, she writes all the checks, she takes in all the money and balances the checkbook to make sure that the money matches the stuff in the bank, the money she puts in and the money that comes out. And we need to make sure that that happens every month.
Understand?
Now, if that's changed, but the MTA told me about it about 3 weeks ago.
Well,
I
I
asked-
talked with Cindy Davis as well, and she said, you can look at it all you want, but there is not any purpose for bringing it and having that at your meeting. So if you want to call Cindy Davis again, go ahead, and
I
I'll be
will.
on the phone with you.
Okay, that would be
Well,
fine.
maybe better yet, maybe we should look at it, and that's my point again, look at it and see the value of it.
Well, don't you think it's a little strange that we have all these reports that have to come out of the clerk's office, and the only thing that we get out of the treasurer's office is our investments reports, which go mostly into CDs, and so they're tied up for 30 days, 90 days, 6 months, a year, 2 years, however length, and it doesn't really change. And I would think that we'd like to see more of what she can produce for us so that we can double check it with the clerk. I don't know, doesn't it seem a little odd to you, or no?
No, I was actually wrong and corrected by our last clerk and MTA. I always thought the treasurer did most things, and I realized the clerk does the majority of it, and I stood corrected
But she double
over a
checks
year
it.
ago.
She
And she
double
double
checks
checks her, I
it.
totally
Right.
understand, it's a checks and balance, and I'm for it. Again, that's why we went to all these classes. What we produced here now is what came from classes. We didn't dream this up.
Okay, well, your pleasure. What do you want to do next? Do you want to take this stuff off? We're going to take off the minutes. We're taking off for December 9th, take off the minutes for January 13th, take off the Township Bank reconciliation report.
Why don't we put it the way it's supposed to be? According to the motion that was put in play from the last board.
Township investments report.
Again.
That's what I have.
He wants this piece of paper here is saying the clerk will provide a financial report and balance sheet report monthly. So instead of the expenditure and revenue reports,
No, he's talking
that
about my
he was
part,
requ-
the treasurer.
he was requiring before, he wants us to recognize this financial report and balance sheets instead, I guess. So we'll have to look over this later.
Yeah, but it's still going to be done by the clerk. There's
Yeah.
there's no check and balance there.
The clerk will provide a financial report, a balance sheet report. Yeah, financial
She has it.
report and balance sheet, he's saying. The treasurer will give a cash activity report,
What's
which
on the
is
rest of
missing
that
off of
paper?
the treasurer's reports here.
Right.
So they're saying that instead of the Township Bank reconciliation report, they
want a cash or
want
activity
the
report?
cash, they're saying that the treasurer should include a cash activity report
It's a
and
financial.
investment report
Right.
quarterly.
She's giving us, she's giving this to us monthly, but this other one is the one that,
Yeah,
that's got to be for the treasurer.
Cash activity report.
Right.
Is that
She's
something you
saying-
can produce for us?
It is.
This is what it is. And it's been changed to a treasurer's investment report.
I didn't put this up here. This is what's general fund, that's what the tax account, these are what's all in the CDs and money markets. That is that cash report. This is the investment one.
And again, this isn't new, this was been done,
Mary Agnes,
Yeah.
okay, so what you're asking for her that she's not providing is the bank reconciliation
Right.
report, which, being the supervisor, I mean, I think, why couldn't you require that of her to produce that? for the
Well, she
meetings?
says she doesn't need to do it, so
But you wanted to,
I
you want
wanted to see it,
Yeah, you can say it
but it
anything.
doesn't, if they don't want it, if no one else wants to see it but me, I guess she could take me back
Angie,
there
since you're
and show me.
reading that, read the motion.
Okay, motion by Clerk Russellberg to approve the agenda policy amendments, including the financial reports in place of the treasurer's report and clerk's reports. Second by Supervisor Fasali.
That's all I'm asking for. The minutes are incorrect, and I'd like us to start doing it the way the board voted on.
So we'll have to look over this.
I guess, because I'm not sure what we're asking for, but we'll
have to-
see if we can find it.
We've wasted a half hour, and we have a lot to go through.
Yes, we do. All right, is there anything wrong with the payroll records and the accounts payables and the opens and pays?
Why do we have two different, is that just for January, why there's two different payrolls? Is
They're
that
two
a
different
total?
dates.
Just-
They're paid every 2 weeks.
Okay,
So it's bi-weekly, you know? So you know.
Okay.
That's two payrolls, but they're combined gross total. And the opens are accounts payables that have to be paid after board action, and the pays are the ones that the Township Board allowed us to pay when they come due so that we don't have a penalty. Are you satisfied with that?
With that last statement, yeah, I have no problem with that.
With everything in the consent agenda now? Is it to your liking now?
I think it's correct, yes.
All right, do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion on the table to approve the consent agenda with regular meeting minutes December 9th removed, regular meeting minutes of January 13th removed, number E3, B like boy, Township Bank reconciliation report removed. I
What
think
about
that's it.
number 1, the revenue and expenditure report?
You're happy with that, aren't you? Is that what you wanted? Do you have the report in your hand that you're looking for?
I have it. That's the report that this board wanted, yes.
Okay. So that's okay.
Okay.
We have a motion and we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Open session. Anyone wishing to address the board regarding agenda items? Please go to the podium.
I'm just gonna skip. I just wanna say, when I was on the board, we did get the reconciliation report every month. So, it was done in, not the past board, the board before that.
I hope this is not in order, but I was assuming that this is what I'm supposed to do. First of all, I'm going to pass out a pamphlet that we got from the MTA about the compensation commission, since we have to get back in organized or whatever. And there's
Thank you.
missing board members that should have been appointed, and these are the rules and regulations, and maybe we can put it on the agenda next month.
Next month?
That's right, brought that in.
Mr. Barnes, did we not, in a meeting, all agree to continue the compensation committee or the compensation board approximately June or July?
It's never, it doesn't expire unless it's through the board.
Correct.
Wants to eliminate it. Otherwise, it's just continuous. It's a continuous process. And they tell you in there how people are appointed, up to 5 years, and then when they go off, you get a month or so, you gotta nominate somebody else, and so on and so forth. It's a continuing board. And right now, as of December 31st, we're short.
Well, we're short, but we did have a vote on that. It was brought to abolish it. Is that not correct?
No.
And we voted on it. In fact, I believe it was the last meeting that Sandy was here.
They should have sent letters to us then.
I don't remember it being abolished.
No.
Well, no, Kelly made the motion and Lori seconded it. We had a vote and we said that we were gonna continue the compensation committee.
Don't they have the film from those meetings? Maybe we can look back.
In other words, you're saying that they continued it, or? they
Well,
just
no, we did
continued
not
it?
abolish it. It was be continued. It was not gonna be
Oh, okay. I don't know, okay.
And it's only done in the,
odd numbered years.
but we have to start like
But if we were going-
December or something.
But if we were going to abolish it, we have to do it on an even numbered year. That's why Kelly and or Lori, I don't remember which
I
one,
don't remember.
implemented it. And it did not pass. We elected to keep the compensation committee.
But we're short one member.
Because Don's 5 years were done.
So they should have had someone, you have 30 days after the end of that person's term supposedly to appoint somebody else, okay? So we are short, is what I'm saying. I don't know how this is gonna affect it since my term ended in December 31st, and this is already February. If you just get someone and put them on there, I have no idea. If it's too late, I don't know. That part of it, I don't know. All I know is we are short. And I think we're short 2 people.
I think I have one more year for my term. I don't know how much you have.
I had a list of it.
Okay, is there anyone else that would like to speak on during open session? Seven minutes in. Then we'll proceed. Unfinished business, we need the board's direction on the choice on whether to sell or not sell Starville Road property. It was tabled last month.
I make a motion that the township hold on to the property at this time.
I would second that. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second to not sell the property on Starville Road. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, new business, zoning board of appeals and planning commission. We still need 4 members for that. Has anyone come up with anybody yet, or you put it on again next month and see if we can come up with some people? Okay. All right, the next item, H2, is bid proposals for 2 local welders for welding, repairs, and replacement of the sewer station enclosure and lid in front of AJ's on M29 and Broadbridge Road. We had a car accident of some kind that hit the sewer station and bumped it off its frame, and it needs to be repaired. I contacted the insurance company. We have a $1,000 deductible. So the bids that I received, I had one on January 11th, and we were supposed to have gotten another one at that meeting, and we didn't. So I took it off the agenda for last month, and this month we have 2. And I just gave you one, did I not? Yes, the mechanical fab.
Is the other one around anywhere?
It should be in your
Something-
package, I think, here. I can give you mine if you want it. Oh, there it is, H2.
Excuse me, Madam Supervisor,
Yes, sir.
wouldn't it be the insurance company of the car that hit that be responsible for it?
Yes.
Instead of us?
Right, exactly, except that there was no accident reported. And when I asked the officer to call me back if he found anything, I didn't hear from him, so I called the record bureau myself, and I asked them to go back 15 days from the 30th is the day we noticed it damaged. Go back 15 days prior to that to see if there was any accidents in the area that was reported, and they found nothing. So I think we're stuck with paying the bill on this one. The first bid is for Mark Watson, dated January 11th, $840. And the specs that were here, I wrote those, so that's why they're almost identical. The other is from Mechanical Fab, and his was Carl Coleman come up with $820.
Make a motion that we accept mechanical fabricators, they're residents of Cottrellville.
Do I have a
And they've
second?
got the cheapest numbers.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to accept Mechanical Fab and a second in the amount of $840. We need a roll call vote for that, please.
Was it 20?
$820, excuse me,
Roll call.
please.
Kay,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes.
Angie, yes.
Okay, motion carried. The next thing in your agenda packet is information from the MDEQ regarding the Harson's Island Bridge project. That came from Artie Bryson, supervisor of Clay Township. He wanted you to be aware of the permit instructions, and that it could very well cause some upstream flooding. When they have the hearing, I think maybe some of the residents, would you make sure, Angie, that this is on our website, so in case anyone wants to attend that meeting and voice their opinion? Any discussion from anyone else? It's just for a point of information.
Supervisor, can we get a copy of that? So we can
Sure.
take a look at it?
Sure.
Is that gonna be in the newsletter also? Or is it in the newsletter?
It wasn't in the newsletter, no. That just came from
This is the final
Katie
copy,
Fairchild.
except it won't be stapled together.
Okay, we have a reminder in our packet about a 2016 annual township meeting between Cottrellville and St. Clair County Road Commission on Wednesday, February 24th from 1 to 3 p.m. Do I have any takers that are gonna join me up there?
I think that's on my calendar.
Okay. Anyone else gonna attend?
I'm trying to attend.
I will
Matt?
attempt to.
Sorry, question.
Oh, sure.
Are they gonna propose like a list of projects? Are we getting involved, or is it more?
Well, I
like a-
think they just want to introduce everyone from the road commission to us. 2 of us haven't been on the board very long. I know most of them anyway, but
Thanks for graveling the roads and everything. You went to it last year, didn't you, Tom?
Yeah, they go over how much money they've got, and they want to put that. Any input from the townships, what projects we're looking for to get taken care of, and ditching. We covered shade over a couple years ago. We were gonna mill it and put it on to do the procedure that we did. But it's very worthwhile, and like I said, if you got any projects in mind, make sure you take them with you. And
I think Mike will be up there too, so.
well, Mike's there. He's one of the guys you'll meet with. But you meet with the engineers, you meet with a crew of us, then we get 4 different people, 4 different sections of people come around.
Ken, were you planning on attending, or?
I'm gonna attempt to if I'm here.
Okay, how about you, Patty?
I watch my grandson.
No? Okay. All right, well, 4 of us will make it then. I'll let them know that as soon as I,
Who's the fourth person? 1, 2, 3, 3. Oh,
Yeah. I got 4. Okay, a meeting with Plant Moran Associates to work on Monday, February 15th at 2 o'clock in the hall to set up some parameters for the proposed budget, possible water rate study, and some journal entries we have for year ending 3/31/2015. If any of the board members can make it, I sure would appreciate it. Monday is a legal holiday, but and that's as early that day as we could get it, so I know it's kind of late, but they assured me it would probably be done before 5, so, yes, sir?
I'm sorry. The water rate study, are those like an update or a proposed rate or?
Well, we had one done a few years ago with Stewart and Beauvais and Whipple,
Okay.
and at first they didn't want to do this. They told me it would be a $20,000 item, and I told them I was going back to Stewart, Beauvais, and Whipple, because I know they did it, and I know it's done with a boilerplate, and all they do is lock in the numbers, and they print it off. And she did concede that would be the way they would do it too. And I said, well, if you want to supply us with that and give us a hand on doing it, we'll do as much as we can ourselves, and then we'll have you come out maybe one day and take a look at what sources they want to spot check. They can do that, and then it would be like under 5,000. So I just want to make sure that we have somewhat of an idea of what we have to raise the water rates to make us self-supporting.
Okay, my concern only is the SAW grant covers a rate methodology, part of the SAW grant budget. And we did allocated some budget for that, working with your financial guys in our office to do this. So I just don't want to duplicate the work.
Well, I don't want to pay twice, that's my concern. What, is it something that you bid to us, is that what you're saying?
It's included in the SAW grant.
We have $38,000 from the SAW grant stuff.
Okay.
I don't remember the number, but there is
Is that the total amount?
That's what's,
there is a budget allocated to look at the rates.
Are you not gonna need some of that money for the higher quote on getting the SAW grant completed?
We're working on that. still.
I know, but before we spend the 38 somewhere else, is it better to take that money and apply it towards what else you have to have to complete that?
Yes, you're right.
And
We may need.
And
to
take
shuffle-
that money applied over there.
We may need to shuffle the budget somehow to accommodate the TV and televising and cleaning the sewers. So I wouldn't necessarily accept any proposals before we know what's going on with the cleaning and televising, because that's already covered by the SAW grant.
All right, well, we'll look at it, but this meeting is the 15th, and we can discuss that at the meeting, and anyone else is welcome. Any questions, concerns, comments? All right, do we want to make available to our planning commission the invitation to the St. Clair Metropolitan Planning Commission 2016 Annual Workshop? It's Thursday, March 31st, from 5:30 to 9. I hadn't got a chance to give that to Pat. I left one in your box. I don't know if you noticed it. Are you guys interested in going to that, or is that something that,
I'll bring it up at the meeting.
okay?
Where is this at?
It's at the administration building of the county. It's probably in the Donald
When do you need
Dodge.
to know?
To get the cheaper rate, I think we have to know by March 28th, March 27th.
How much is
It's only
it?
$2 more.
Okay.
It's not gonna kill us, it's only $2, but, I'm sorry?
I'll bring it up for our next meeting.
Okay. Now we gotta find out if we're gonna pay for it. Anybody in favor of allowing them to go? We have a motion then to, well, I guess it's more or less a point of information. Anyone else have any problem with sending them to school? I don't. How about you, Patty? No. Matt?
No.
Okay, Ken?
No, do we have any idea how many yet, or
Well, you only have, we
without
only
that
have seven,
knowing?
we only have 7 people, so
It's only $50.
So you're talking $105?
roughly.
7 people, including you.
Yeah, that's,
Okay. Would you put that on your agenda in your next meeting then? All right, board should look at possible increases in the township operating fee to 1% from the current rate of 0.717, which adds 0.2883 to the tax bill. I passed out some things for you to look at. Barb did this for me kind of quick. First one is operating, so that would be the first page. If you had a $100,000 house with a true cash value of that figure and a $50,000 assessed or taxable value, which is 50%, the current tax rate for the operating would be $35.58.5. To add that additional .2883 would be another $14.41.5. So that's what it would make in a difference. I just want you to look at this and think about it. In the next board meeting, I'd like to have you contact us in the meantime so we can have the paperwork ready if you decide to go with it. And it'll be in the form of a resolution to put into fruition.
can
All
I ask
right.
a question on that before you
Yeah,
go?
sure,
And
go
that
ahead.
operating, what can that be used for? What would be the purpose of it? Just so everybody's aware of it, that are watching and so forth.
Well, the admin fee is mostly for the treasurer and to take care of the assessing. The operating is our just everyday stuff.
Okay.
Um,
We have a plan as to how you would budget that and allocate out those monies?
Nope, not yet. But that's the limit that we can ask for, so. To spend this amount for quite a while, I guess. Anything else? The next item is number 8. The board should look at a possible increase in property tax administrative fee to 1% from the current rate of .75, which adds 1/4% to the tax bill. And that's your next item there. On a $50,000 taxable house, $100,000 house at 50%, the 2000 rate is 23.4226. So the tax is 1171.13. When you add the administrative fee, it would be $87.83. As a full percent, it bumps it up another 117. So your tax bill would go from $1258.96 to $1288.24. For almost less than a $30 increase. And that is to kind of defray the cost of postage, envelopes, the time that the girls put into getting the taxes out, and the work the assessor does. Any questions? The last thing is, now I just took a stab at a number because I couldn't get the exact figure. Barb didn't have time to figure exactly. I figured 1.3 mils for fire protection for Cottrellville Township to meet the current cost paid to the Marine City Fire Area Fire Authority and Ira Township. And I'd like to hold a town hall meeting to discuss the continuing to be with the Marine City Fire Authority. It's kind of draining the kettle dry. And if we don't do this, we're gonna have to figure out a less expensive way to furnish fire protection for our residents. We can go back and ask them on a per-run basis, like we do with IRA. We can go back to IRA and ask them if they want to broaden their invoice to us to include, or their contract to include the entire township. But I want feedback from the residents, because I want them to feel like they're part of this. And before we get to that point, we would, probably have to have it on election, on a ballot, so we got everyone's view on it. So a 1.3 would be roughly $65 on a $50,000 house. So we got a total of, if we added all that stuff up, if you're homesteaded, your total for all three of those items that I just talked about would cost the person on a $100,000 house about $108.69 more in their taxes. If they are not a homesteaded parcel, it would be $131.19. So chew on that a while. Come see me this month and tell me what your thoughts are. You guys too, if you think you see something that can make it better. And if you have no more discussion, Ken, you got any more questions?
No, not on the taxes as of right now.
Okay. Matt, you're all right?
No questions, no.
Okay. I know the girls will tell me. Number 10 is boards should look at a possible rate for sewer and water department to accommodate the costs of reading meters and maintaining the current system independently. We're going to have to raise some of our rates for turning on and turning off, putting in new meters, that sort of thing. I've got to get with the DPW superintendent and see if he can give us something in writing to see what those parts actually cost us and the time it takes them labor-wise to put it together, so that we can get a more reasonable rate for those individual items.
Will this have anything to do with the water rate study, if the rate
Yes.
for waters go up?
Yeah, but I'd like to have these numbers to give them so that the bean counters can tell us if it costs us $100 for a meter and it takes them 40 minutes to put it on, you figure a labor in one man to put it together, and that would be the cost of that item, because we seem to be going in the hole. Any discussion?
Good point.
Okay. Number 11, I apologize to Mr. Kowalczyk because I added a 11C to his, and that letter must have been stuck to something else when I got my notation from him. It was clipped and all, it was all clipped in one spot, and I picked up somebody else's stuff, so the third item is not his. The first item, if you want to give us what your idea is on the audit letter from Plant Moran dated October 26, 2015, which accompanied the financial statements for year ending 3/31/2015. And a copy of the letter was attached.
The point here was just we haven't reviewed last year's audit yet. And again, I understand we have a new board, but we have a budget in March, and there are some things that they pointed out in there, and you had just mentioned increasing millages and so forth to help cover cost. Obviously, that's stated very clearly in our audits. It was in last year's audits too. Supervisor Caselli had them in here, and they told us the same thing. And I just wanted to reiterate that point to the board and show them what was highlighted by our auditors.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
When they delivered that financial statement to you, did they come in and debrief you or no?
Yes, the last year's audit, not this current one, this one that I pulled here.
October 26th? No? They didn't
No.
deliver it that? Well, they did just mail it to you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we have not yet had anybody come in to discuss any of that.
Okay.
Whereas before, they came, made a presentation in front of the.
Right. That's how
everybody
it's
and showed-
normally
yeah,
done.
And no, that has not been done. And that's what I was trying to point out here, that
Okay.
we should do it so everybody sees where we're at.
Yeah. Well, if you can mark that on your calendar, we would appreciate your being available for that when we talk to Plant Moran. The second item is request for development of an ordinance that authorizes and regulates the use of off-road vehicles, ORVs, on the road within our township. Copies of the ordinances from Clay and Ira are attached. Those were supplied to us by Matt as well.
A resident came to me and asked me about it and actually did all the homework on this. I believe it's customary for us to forward these to the planning committee
Right.
and have them review it. So I think obviously to follow suit, all due respect to the planning committee, forward this to them, have them see it. And that's all it was. It was given to me to be considered.
It was addressed already, and the decision was made to go according to the St. Clair County has a off-road vehicle ordinance, and that's what we defer to. And that was decided about 2 years ago.
Oh, so we're just following theirs. Do we need an ordinance to state what it is for the residents here? Or they
Because
just,
we've had people come in asking.
We probably should, I don't know, I will bring
Just
it.
refer them to the
Well,
county sheriff is what.
That's what-
It was closer to probably 4 years ago.
Because it was brought in ordinances from Clay and Ira, and the decision was made that let's just leave it at the St. Clair County level and just defer to that. And because guess who's going to enforce them?
St.
The
Clair
county. We're going to
you
enforce
sure?
them.
I'm just wondering, because remember last year on the 4th of July with the fireworks ordinance, I was actually acting as the moderator. And when I called the state of Michigan and got sent to the Upper Peninsula, they referred it all back to us, and that's why our inspector had to go out. Even though it's written, the state is the one we refer to. We turn around, the state says, yeah, we already got you. It comes back to you.
That's what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, we
I'm going to
should-
try to find the minutes because I know we addressed it within the last year or two. And maybe
Just-
I'll rattle Georgia's memory and send her an email and see, because I remember that discussion.
Well,
And-
maybe just so we have something
But-
written, the motion was made that we do that so that the people in the office
And
are
put
asked.
it in the, somewhere in the book so that.
So we'll have it, and then they can refer to
They'll
it to
know
the residents.
when they look at that to defer, yeah. Okay,
Right, now tell me
I'll find
this,
out.
if that's what we did you guys want to entertain having our own ordinance and not following what the sheriff's department set up, or are you happy with letting them police their own?
No, I think if you made that recommendation, it did come to the board, and the board passed it then, right?
I'll come back in the next meeting and explain what I dug up.
How you did?
With it, I will, with the information that
Yeah.
we discussed and all that, because I don't remember all the details, but I know we discussed it. And I know we deferred to the county,
Okay.
you know,
Well, just
like you
for
defer a lot
clarification
of
for the
things.
residents.
Because ordinances, I mean, having a pile of ordinances and you just having a pile of ordinances to have a pile of ordinances and you can't enforce, you're not enforcing them, or you can't enforce them. It's just, and I think, I don't know if that was the reason, I can't remember what the reason was, but we deferred to the county ordinance. And I think maybe, I don't know, well, anyway,
If we
I'll
could
come
just
back
follow,
with
that'd be great.
information. Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. The last thing is a letter from Al Claudette. I just gave you that in your packet for you to be aware of. He's concerned about illegal signages in Cottrellville, and he enclosed a letter and some pictures that were attached. Okay, we have a letter from, or a memorandum, I should say, from Mr. Don Chop. He would like to attend the Rural Water Conference. I believe it's in Shanty Creek this year. He would like permission to go himself. He's got, St. Clair Township is going to pick up the expense on his hourly rate and the cost of the conference itself and its fees. And he would like the township to pick up, our township to pick up the cost of the mileage and a room rate of approximately $105 per day for 2 days. He'd be gone Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and he would stay Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and come back Thursday, March 15th, 16th, and 17th. Do we have a motion to that?
I'll make a motion to accept it.
You want him to go?
Yes.
Okay, Johnny will not be going. Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that. He's
Okay, we have a motion.
gone for years.
I'm sorry?
He's gone up there for years.
Yep, quite a few years. Okay, we have approval to send Mr. Chop up north for the cost of mileage and $105 per day for 2 days. We have a second. We need a roll, I'm sorry?
Can do. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have a roll call vote for spending the money.
Patty,
Yes.
Ken,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
Mary Agnes,
Yes,
Angie, yes.
motion carried. All right, we have a newsletter that I put together. We're going to be putting it in the assessments records that are coming out from the assessor's office. She's letting me help her stuff envelopes. It's gonna be a 11 by 17. It's just black and white. And there's some things there that, about looking for people for planning commission and ZBA and Parks and Rec and I don't know, what else? I guess we need to look for board of review
Cemetery,
members too,
cemetery.
and cemetery cleanups and that sort of thing. So there's also, we're gonna try and put this out every month and a half, every 2 months or so. But we'd like to try and save money on postage and on paper. If we can send most of these out by email, we'll have them done in a 8.5 by 11 size. So if it turns out to be 4 pages, you'll just get those 4 sent to your email address. If you can give us a hand with signing up for that, we'd appreciate it. We don't sell your email addresses to anyone, but we want to be able to save, if we can cut this down to like 300 or 400 pages. Right now, I paid $2,000, for 2,000 pages, I paid $300. So, and the invoices, they're included in your, or didn't I give you this?
I know you didn't.
Can't give that to Ken.
Did you give this?
Yeah, I've got one.
Oh, you got one?
I do have one of these.
Okay,
I think we have
all
one.
right.
They're all the same, right?
Yep, it's just one
I
invoice.
thought there was 2 of them, okay.
No,
So
So,
you were hoping to produce these every other month,
every other month.
and then the hard copies about 3 times a year?
Yeah,
Right, okay.
we'll be able to put them in the tax bill on the 1st of December and the tax bill with the treasurer's permission, and the tax bill for July 1st, and the assessments that we send out once a year. And because we've got about 1,900 going out, so that's why we needed so many. But if the township people can cooperate a little bit, we can send it to them for nothing. And they can stay right on top of it. Angie will keep up with the, with contributions from the other township officers, that we can keep everybody up to snuff on everything that's going around. So if you're questioning anything, you'll be able to read it in the voice of the Cottrellville Township Informer. And it looks like that.
Should any of the citizens have something they want to put in, are you going to make provisions? So if they've got an announcement or,
Like an advertisement? Yeah,
No,
we'll take their
no.
money.
not an advertisement, an opinion or information in regards to something at the park?
Oh, yeah,
Are they allowed
anything
to do
that
that?
has to do with township business, yes, as long as it's not running for office or anything like that. It's just a fun paper to keep people
I think
guessing.
it looks great.
I was just wondering if somebody, if you could real quick, this letter from Al Cadet, what is he considering illegal signage? Do we have an ordinance on signage?
No, it's, you know how they stick garage sales and
Oh,
well drilling and on all the telephone posts? They're concerned about people getting hurt when linemen work on the pole.
so,
Mr. Clausen tries to tear those down about 3 times a year, but he's not successful with the ones real tall because he doesn't take a ladder with him. But I guess those are the ones that have been throwing people. We have an electrician here, he could probably tell us all about that. So, Ken, by the way, that's Charlie Bailey. He's the gentleman that you wondered.
Oh, I was wondering, you were getting a check or so it said.
Yeah, I happened to catch it on
He was
one of
watching
your
TV.
TV
Oh, yeah.
shows. So I figured I'd come and introduce myself, so you know.
Kinda nice. Now you get a check.
Well, I asked him for 11 by 14 picture of him, but he didn't have one, so.
Oh,
So I'm your elected official.
All right, anybody else got anything else they would like to oh, I know, we gotta discuss whether we're gonna pay that bill. It was approved in the December, meeting, I believe, to put $300 towards a newsletter. We ran out of time. We run out of month. And when I asked her how much she would do this for, she told me that she would do it for $400. And I said, well, you got 300 already specified for it. And she says, I'll take 300. So she gave us a deal. So if we could have a motion to pay that bill,
Even though
we have it, it's
You already made it.
still, it's really out to be paid yet, so.
Okay.
what's the 300 for? One
Paying
more time?
For the newsletter?
putting this
Oh.
together for me. I would move that we
Okay.
pay Ready Set Mail $300 for 11 by 17 double-sided newsletter.
Okay.
We have a second?
Second that.
Matt has a second.
Okay.
All in favor signify by saying aye, and a roll call vote.
Okay. Matt,
Yes.
Mary Agnes?
Yes.
Ken?
Yes.
Patty?
Yes.
Angie? Yes.
Motion carried. Anyone else in the board got anything to say?
I was going to share about my classes.
Oh, yes. That's under announcements. Go right ahead.
Okay. First of all, could I make a correction to what I had said earlier?
Sure.
In regards to Matt coming into the office. It wasn't President's Day, it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It was a holiday, we were
Oh,
doing the
yes.
day off and I had come into the office to work. Okay. Just for the minute's sake. Okay, so let me pull up my notes. I had the opportunity to attend a couple classes in January, and since the Township Board paid for my way to go, I felt to be accountable for what I learned and share what I experienced and what I learned with my time there. And the second week of January, I attended an accreditation class to certify me to be able to work the elections this year. In Michigan, it's mandatory for the clerk, for newly elected clerks, to attend these certification classes within the first 6 months that the new clerk takes the office. And since the March 8th election was coming up pretty fast, it was necessary for me to go. I was gone 3 days and 2 nights. The township paid for my mileage and for my hotel stay. The classes were free, so thank you, Township Board, for approving for me to go. And then the third week, I had the privilege to go to the MTA conference, the annual MTA conference. This time it was held in Detroit at the Detroit Renaissance Center. And I was pretty nervous about going there all by myself, but thankfully the second day I ran into Sir Mid. And he was really cool, introduced me to all of his friends, and invited me to go out to a reception dinner held by his lawyer friends. So, but in reference to the conference, it was an amazing experience. I was impressed by how organized the MTA conference was. And they kicked off the whole conference with a grand ceremony with a parade of flags. Each township and city was represented in the flag. Well, almost every city and township was represented in the parade of flags. And I was able to hear the keynote speaker. And after everybody was released from the conference, I was able to go through the expo and meet the different vendors and see what everybody had to offer. There were several classes to choose from, and it was pretty amazing how many classes there were to choose from. And it was a pretty easygoing environment. You could go in and out of classes. After they even started, if you felt like you weren't getting enough out of the class or wanted to try a different teacher. Some of the classes I went to were on how to take the board meeting minutes, creating policies, and about statutory duties for the officials and how to work with difficult people. So, and there was many other classes I attended to, and I was there 3 days, 2 nights, and the Township Board paid for my stay and for my classes, and I just want to thank the Township Board for allowing me to have this experience, so thank you.
Would you go again?
I would go again if I was clerk again.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments? Are we still friends?
Always have that.
Okay. Any questions, Ken?
No.
Strictly business.
All right. Public comments. Anybody out there got something to say? Mrs. Paff.
I sent the Marine City water billing to Marine City for October, November, December. I got a thank you call from Mary Ellen to thank me for sending it because they had not received the bill for July, August, and September yet. So Don Chop is going to find the figures for me. We have money coming from them, but they have never been billed. We have also, I corrected some water billings. One water billing that I corrected was wrong since April of 2015. It was billed for over $1 trillion. And the guy has left town.
I would too.
For the trillion.
And we also came into our office, while Angie was gone, that the July 2015 tax bill was never paid. So this is so the board knows that there is money that is going to be going out or coming in.
What kind of taxes?
The payroll taxes. That should be paid the day the checks are written, or a day or so after, because it's off the computer. You email it, don't you? Yep.
It's the e-check.
And there's a penalty on it.
Payroll from last July, you mean?
July 2015. And the water bill, Don is going to see if he can find the figures for me, because that adds up quite a bit, because Marine City is Kmart Plaza, you got Bruce Street in that area in there, that all those that get water that have to be billed. So as soon as I get that, I'll send it.
Anyone else?
Just want to let you know what the status of the master plan is, the 5-year review. I have emailed Jill. She was out on Monday because she was ill, and she's going to be getting back with me. So we'll review what we accomplished at the joint meeting. And I asked her to give me a budget of what doing the stats and taking care of that would be. We would also do the communication of our master plan with the local communities, the local townships, and we will do the printing of it, so that'll save us money. And I worked on the budget. I gave our budget for the planning commission this year to Mary Agnes, but I also did a corrected budget for what in the past had been on my planning commission budget. And for your information, my budget was said that I used 82% of my budget, and that included many Verizon costs in that budget, saying we used 82% of the budget. After I removed those and corrected what was used this year, we were down to 0.018%, which we have not paid the commissioners yet, so that'll take care of that. That'll increase what we've spent on the budget. And the $2,000 we allotted for the clear zoning to look over the 5-year master plan review. So, so that's more corrections that need to be taken care of on previous budgets. And what other thing? On the other suggestion is when you do send that email, and you're probably already going to do this, but when you do send that email of the newsletter, you can put some out in the lobby and people can grab them too, because there won't be that many gone. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Mr. Barnes.
One last comment. I want to thank Angie for her comments on her classes, which I thought was good, fantastic. And I think anybody that the township is paying for classes, whether it's Don Chop or whatever, whether we know much about holes in the water or anything like that, I think they should come in and give us a report of supposedly what transpired and what possibly they learned from the meeting. Since we're paying for it.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else? All right, I guess we'll entertain a, oh, go ahead.
One quick question.
Sure. Don't start talking till you get to the mic.
Whatever happened to the tablets that you were possibly looking at? Do you
I
know
think
of-
It got turned out, did it not, Patty?
That got turned down, so we're wasting all this paper. And also, the agenda, could that be put online?
It is online.
The agenda
Yep,
itself?
On minutes on
The,
demand.
yeah, the minutes are there.
Yep, the agenda is there.
Is it
The-
now?
As a matter of fact,
packet-
the entire packet is on there.
No, no, no,
Okay.
the packet wasn't able to get inserted. We had some issues uploading it to the computer today. Remember?
Yeah, but before
Today.
it had been.
Yeah, today, yes.
Just
So it
today.
would have been on today, not 10 days ago or something when you
Well,
would
we
have
just got the
got.
packet done
Yeah.
maybe 4 days ago. I've been busy with elections and absentee
7
ballots.
days ago.
I attempted to put it online today for minutes on demand, and I was able to get the agenda loaded, but I wasn't able to get the whole packet. There was some issues with,
Yeah, so we could find out what is going on up here that you're looking at. We're dumbfounded back here.
Next month, I really hope to be on the ball.
There's a packet now
appreciate
in the
it.
lobby also.
I see that, but it says do not take from here.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
It's been
Yeah.
there for 4 or 5 days. too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's,
Okay.
it's for people to come in, take a look, and if they have a question, then they can go back and,
it's been there for 4 or 5 days?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I
Yeah.
finished it last Thursday.
Yeah,
Okay, but you
Yeah.
told me it wouldn't go online until today, so.
yeah, because I've been
Okay.
busy with absentee
Yeah.
ballots and election stuff. I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah.
new.
I'm sorry? Please. Okay, we have a motion to adjourn at 8:48.
Okay.
Let's go. Thank you, everybody.